Does Tennessee have a quarterback issue with Josh Heupel at the helm? Caleb, I never thought we'd say that when Josh Heupel was hired. Why? Because he is a quarterback. He also is an offensive guru, right? Can you be an offensive guru and not a good quarterback evaluator / coach?
He's the first in my life that would fit into that category, if I'm being honest. But we have some.
It's almost like Nick Saban being a great defensive backs coach, but let's say he wasn't a great defensive coordinator. I mean, that doesn't jive.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah, and by the way, Nick Saban is not a good evaluator of quarterbacks. You watch throughout his career, Nick Saban missed so many times on who to play at quarterback. But you never had a problem with that because Nick Saban's specialty wasn't coaching quarterbacks. That's not what he was comfortable doing. But Josh Heupel's whole signature calling is quarterbacks. And he has had an issue missing on them. And yes, I have to say, to a certain degree, it's starting to strike me as a bit of a red flag that he does that. I mean, again, you don't have to nail like great quarterbacks to be a quarterback guru. But you have to know the right quarterbacks for your system. I mean, I don't think Steve Spurrier missed on his quarterbacks, right? He knew they weren't that good. He just knew that he didn't need good quarterbacks for what he was trying to do at Florida in the 90s.
Yeah, I think Nico had the skill set to be a great quarterback for Tennessee. I just think he was tentative because it was year number 1. If you look at how he played against Ohio State, he played really well, right?
Yeah, I mean, Nico went all out against Ohio State. Nico, I mean, I think, and I'm sticking with this. I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, Tennessee got a better quarterback than Joey Aguilar." I think Joey Aguilar is going to be better than Nico was last year, but I think Nico this year would have been better than Joey Aguilar is going to be for Tennessee.
That's a great way of putting it. Actually, I will agree with that wholeheartedly. All right. Cooper Mays will tell us what to do and tell you what to do. Go ahead and set up the poll question however you'd like to do it. Cooper Mays, go ahead and set us up, sir. We appreciate you.
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
Better do it. All right, Coop. What down?
Coop here. First down.
We appreciate that, Coop. How concerned are you about Joe Milton 2023?
So the Joe Milton 2023 scenario, I'm less concerned about Joe Milton and more concerned about the fact that Josh Heupel felt he had to go with Joe Milton to keep the team together because he was stupid enough to take Joe Milton in the offseason of 2021. And he put himself in that position with an original sin. I never blamed him for Joe Milton himself and what happened in 2023. But it was such a red flag that he went all out for Joe Milton when he first got to Tennessee. And really didn't even have a competition to have the starting quarterback job that year. I'll say this. I think Josh Heupel going all out for Joe Milton and not even competition in fall camp that year was dumber than Ed Orgeron going after Brent Schaefer at Ole Miss. You could at least make the case that Ed Orgeron was desperate and had to get something at Ole Miss. Josh Heupel wasn't desperate. He just chose to do that.
I understand it, but it's still a mistake. You fall in love just like, the worst driver in NASCAR would fall in love with the fastest car, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's basically what happened. You fell in love with the fastest car. You had all the bells and whistles, but in this particular case, you didn't coach him at a high level and you didn't recognize as an evaluator some of the issues that he had. I almost think with his skill set, you should have done something completely different. But the underlying issue is he shouldn't have been your starting quarterback at all.
No, he never should have been your starting quarterback.
Especially not over Hendon Hooker the year before, right?
I think that, yes, and that was, the thing is, Joe Milton in 2023, it was his last year, and just to keep the team together, I had to start him because I do think it resonated with a lot of people that he stayed and he didn't have to stay. And so Josh Heupel, I think, was, Josh Heupel, I think, deserves a lot of credit. I mean, not Josh Heupel. Joe Milton deserves a lot of credit for that. And I think Josh Heupel was like, it's a transition year anyway. Stay head above water. We'll start the guy, keep everybody happy, and then we'll go with Nico in the future.
All right, here we go.
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
Thanks, Coop. Nico, in 2024, last season, is that a quarterback issue? Is that disconcerting?
Nico in 2024 was not.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Was not as much of a quarterback issue as I think people want to make it out to be. I think Nico there's now look, I misjudged. I don't hide from my mistakes. I misjudged it. I thought Nico was created in a lab for this offense, and it wouldn't matter who was on the team anywhere else on the field because I thought he could just make it work. I was wrong. I'll own I was wrong. I'm also going to say Nico was playing with two tackles who both had sprained ankles throughout the first half of the year, so he was always under duress, and it was his first year starting in the SEC. He had receivers who couldn't get open because of their own injuries. And he was the first quarterback under Josh Heupel to have to face that 3-3-5 shell defense that everybody's now doing to try to stop this passing offense that he hadn't prepared for at all in the offseason. So I don't think 2024 was as much of his play in 2024. The drop off in play was as much of a red flag of Josh Heupel with quarterbacks as much as it was so many other things were happening around. And it's a red flag. It would have been a red flag if it happened again this year, but I can't hold it against him last year.
Let me ask you this, and we'll get to third down. Was last season more about Josh Heupel, or was it more about Nico?
A beacon of hope in a world of high prices. Look to the skies, Knoxville. Super Savings is here. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 volume Ford dealer. Employee pricing is here. You pay what we pay on all new Ford models. Come see the super dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location, Parkside Drive, or Kingston Pike.
All right, Caleb, answer that question. Was last year more about Heupel or Nico? Who was more to blame for average quarterback play when it happened?
Heupel, because of the personnel around Nico.
Amen. Hey, you stole my point.
Yeah. No, Heupel, he went all in on trying to make Brew McCoy the go-to receiver again. Brew McCoy wasn't fit to be the go-to receiver. He was not healthy. He wouldn't start Mike Matthews because Mike Matthews needed to learn that whole system.
And Caleb broke up.
Because
there you go, Caleb. Repeat what you were saying.
he wouldn't start Mike Matthews because Mike Matthews had to learn the option routes of playing receiver. I don't understand why Josh Heupel can't just simplify the offense for Mike Matthews. I mean, Bill Belichick simplified it for Randy Moss.
It's not that complicated in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, so is it a red flag that Mike Matthews couldn't pick it up to begin with?
Yeah, either he's not bright enough or they were doing something goofy. And they didn't run enough stuff over the middle. I think it was all Heupel. And you mentioned tackles earlier. You didn't in that last comment, but the offensive tackle issue was every bit the issue that Brew McCoy was. Well, Orange Blood says quarterback deficiencies for sure, but we ran our way to 10 wins. It's true. And I give Heupel a lot of credit. We're talking specifically about the quarterback play. All Nico, says Todd Hearn. And Todd also says Nico isn't an SEC quarterback mentally. I'll kind of roll with that. Psychologically, I think is what Todd means, in that, I don't know. I think the stage was too big for him.
I think,
especially with the deficiencies.
Here, let's say this. Nico could have grown into the stage, but can we agree that maybe his father won't let him grow into the stage? Because when your dad is dictating every little bit of your life like that, you never get a chance to like put yourself in the real world. Is that fair to say?
He could have grown into the stage, but I think Tennessee thought they had a Casey Clausen that was ready for the stage immediately, right?
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree.
They
and it was the same. I mean, and Casey Clausen, and also even like a Peyton Manning, even though Peyton Manning grew up with like a silver football in his mouth, I guess you could say, instead of a silver spoon. I think Peyton Manning was not scared of the moment at all when he was ready to play, was he?
Derek says too busy. Agreed. Derek says too busy playing video games, not studying film or working out. I hadn't heard that, but maybe too busy at the thrift shop picking out pajama pants.
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
Can you imagine me ever wearing pajama pants out in public? Just FYI.
I can't, but I hardly see you beyond the waist up anyway. So,
although I will say this, today I forgot my shirt when I was leaving the gym, and I left without a shirt. That got a weird look from some of the people that work at the gym. All right, but I was flexing. I was giving a little heck flex. All right, what is third down, Caleb? Who's next?
Does the red flag of does the handling of the whole Nico Iamaleava situation, is that a red flag with Josh Heupel and quarterbacks?
Absolutely. And I know I was out at the time, but yeah, it's big time issue. I mean, we could question right now if Joey Halsey's qualified to be an offensive coordinator in the SEC, right?
Right?
Well, he sure as hell is not qualified to be dealing with the starting quarterback. He was the one with Nico the night before Nico didn't show up to that Friday practice. And he was the one that I think told the higher ups that, hey, it's fine. He's going to be fine. And he wasn't fine. And he didn't show up to practice that Friday. I don't know why Josh Heupel thought that was the right way to handle it. I thought that was absolutely horrid.
I think handling the Nico situation from the start is a red flag for Josh Heupel. And I mean all the way back to the $8 million that was promised. Because if you're a quarterback guru, this goes back to if Josh Heupel's a quarterback guru, why does he need $8 million to get the perfect quarterback? Can't he make any quarterback good? I mean, if you're running a pro style offense, if you're David Cutcliffe and you're a developer of players, yeah, you get the $8 million man, the best quarterback. But if you're a quarterback guru, you don't need a good quarterback. You need someone who can run your system.
Great.
And that's my red flag.
No, I agree. And listen, if you're the quarterback guru and the agent comes to you and says, and I've been told in the weeks since that it was the agent even more than the dad. If it was the agent that came to UT and said he needs more money, you say, well, he can stick it because he needs to be with me because I'll develop him into the best NFL quarterback. And if not, I'll develop somebody else, right?
Yes.
I've all the leverage on my side if I'm quarterback guru.
No, I totally agree. Because he can just look at his track record and he'd be like, hey, do you and just say, do you want the video game numbers or not? I'll get you the video game numbers. It is your choice if you want it.
What does Orange Blood say?
Lab equipment is expensive to build that QB. Well played. But I mean, look, there is layers to the right quarterback to run your system because, okay, let me go to Nebraska real quick. The Tom Osborne era. I always bring up Tommy Frazier. Well, a lot of quarterbacks ran that triple option well, right? Eric Crouch, Turner Gill, all these quarterbacks ran it well. But then Tommy Frazier took it to another level, didn't he? Beyond what they did.
Yes.
And so
now that's what you expected out of Nico. You expected guys like Hendon Hooker. Well, he ended up raising the bar. I think we both would agree. But you expected guys to at least play it as well as Joe Milton. And Nico to take it to another level, Tommy Frazier style. That's a great comparison.
All SEC center Cooper Mays here, 4th down.
What is the solution?
I think the solution for Josh Heupel is to stop falling in love with quarterbacks and to fall in love with talent elsewhere and know that he can get the quarterback he needs to make it, that he doesn't need the best quarterback to run the system. It's more important to have talent everywhere else and have a quarterback that has a base level of talent.
Okay. What you're essentially hinting at is a coaching change, a head coaching change, because no head coach is going to take his philosophy and set it aside. That's one of his main philosophies. He falls in love with quarterbacks. He believes in himself when it comes to quarterbacks. He played quarterback. He's not going to set that aside. That'd be like telling Nick Saban not to coach defensive backs.
But I mean, you're probably right. And that may be where the coaching change happens because let me be upfront on this. Dave, have I not said from the start that I have no questions about Josh Heupel's play calling and scheming? None whatsoever. And I don't think we're selling enough.
I do. And
I have none.
It was Derek who had another good point about Frost and Couch pretty nasty as well. They were. But Derek, you brought up a point, it's been a couple of weeks ago, that where has the short yardage goal line stuff been with the tight ends?
No, yes, the creativity on like the scripted first drive that Alex Golesh brought, I get what you're saying. But in general, I have no qualms about that's more the offensive coordinator and getting the right guy. You can have questions about Joey Halsey, but as a head coach who schemes, I've got no questions about Josh Heupel. My question with Josh Heupel was always and has always been his ability to evaluate talent, even at the positions that he's supposed to be good at, i.e. quarterback.
Here's the issue. Nathaniel says it's Joey. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, this is Josh Heupel's offense. And should Joey bring more to the table? Probably.
Yes.
Did Alex Golesh do that? Yes.
So did Jeff Lebby.
But if you think for a second that Josh Heupel is going to make a splash hired offensive coordinator and a guy that will change things up, you're crazy.